Hi Leo, welcome to your general messages for the 15th through the 30th. So this particular reading is going to be covering the last 2 weeks of September. A little adjustment I had to make because of my crazy schedule. But this is for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I definitely recommend checking all of those signs if you have the time for the most complete messages. Remember, guys, these are general. Take what resonates, take what resonates with you and your situation, and just throw out the rest. It may not be your reading. A lot of it does depend on how these energies are speaking to your personal birth chart, right? Okay, so let's get into, I'm going to throw down some oracles. We're going to discuss the astrology. Then I'm going to pull a Celtic cross spread for the general collective for general messages. And then I'll break into relationship read. I'm going to timestamp in the description box below, so you guys can, I'm going to timestamp for the Celtic cross spread as well as the relationship read if you guys want to hop around a little bit. It's totally fine. So we have like 4 major things I feel like happening this week, even though in the thumbnail I really only indicated the full moon in Pisces as well as Mercury going retrograde, but we also have this energy of Venus and Scorpio opposing Uranus and Taurus like really tightly, and then also Mars on the 15th entering into Libra. So for you guys, it's happening in your 3rd house. So we're going to talk about what that actually means for you. Let's throw down all the oracles first and see what messages come up. Maybe I'll throw some tarot down to clarify. Who knows? Let's see what comes up. Kind of just going with the flow here, my Leo friends. Leo, because you guys are having the full moon on that very tricky axis that you have in full moon is in the 8th house for you guys, right? 8th house, 2nd house, tricky axis, right? Because it has to do with your money, somebody else's money. It's where it's that me versus we energy in relationship and business situations. It's all of that. So let's get into it as we discuss these oracles. So we're starting out here with the Moonology. The answers you need are coming. Very nice energy to get when we're talking about getting a full moon, because full moon is all about things culminating, coming to the top. This is a very special full moon. I'm going to explain why in a second. So we have the answers you need are coming, which is a full moon in Gemini. Selling out, clarified by serendipity, clarified by release the dark moon and let love live. So really that is about letting go of anything negative from the past. Leo, you gotta let it go. Where are you selling out? But let's talk about this. So the answers that you need are coming with this full moon in Gemini. Right, so this means there's a lot of information. Gemini's the Geminian energy is because it's ruled by Mercury. There's always like a lot of download of information here, and so on the 15th, Mars is entering Libra, which is an air sign as well, right, to Gemini, in your 3rd house, which happens to be the home of Gemini. So a lot of you may be in the space where you're going to be arguing. You may find yourself in this situation where you're going to be arguing with family or coworkers or even classmates, where, because you're trying to fix something and it's very frustrating because somebody's not seeing your way. You want to be careful not to break technology. You want to watch out for your car. I'm not even saying this because Mercury is going retrograde. I'm saying this because you have Mars in that 3rd house. Because Mars is that warrior energy. And the 3rd house is Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So it's almost like a double Mercury retrograde in a weird way for you guys. So just be careful of that. Anything having to do with technology. But the more positive manifestation can be you starting a new project that promotes your worth, that promotes some sort of talent, gift, or ability that you have. This can be anything from launching anything on social media to owning your own business, getting some sort of project out there. Really nice energy for that, okay? Mars and Libra also, though, can indicate, because that 3rd house, in the 3rd house is also siblings and extended family. So when I mentioned earlier family, it doesn't have to just be your immediate. This could be extended. This could also actually be your neighbors, people in your neighborhood, or even someone who you're actually doing business with, right? Because that 3rd house energy is about signing things on the dotted line, right? So there's going to be some sort of tension but there's got to be discussion, and I feel like it's in that discussion where your answers are going to be coming, and you're going to be posing the question to yourself, where are you selling yourself out? Where is there selling out going in this situation? So when we look at this, and we look at his selling out energy, right, connecting it to tarot, we're looking at, like, you know, this is the justice energy reverse, this is the devil energy, like, where is the imbalance? There's got to be this recognition of imbalance, but whatever it is, it's going to be reaching you in a beautiful, beautiful epiphany, which it's definitely going to be going on. I feel like a lot of you, because you have Scorpio and Venus and Pluto, for you, Pluto rules your fourth house, not to get too complicated, but that fourth house has to do with, like, your emotional foundation. So you have this, it's going to be opposing this Uranus retrograde in Taurus in your 10th house. So something you're going to be looking at, where are you selling yourself out, having to do with either some sort of family situation, something in your career, or could even apply to real estate. But there's some sort of very serendipitous realization that you're going to have that you just have to release. You can't hold on to something too much. So particularly if a lot of you may be in this space because of the full moon energy hitting your 8th house, you may be entrenched in something having to do with an inheritance, an insurance payout, some sort of cyclical investment, something doing with your partner's money, somebody else's money, right? Now I'm going to talk about that in a little more intensely, but something is going on in that area. I feel like that is creating a lot of tension, but everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to. But you're going to be pushed into this space, Leo, where you're going to be like, all right, either I accept this and I make the decision to accept it and just be okay with it and love it and be happy, or walk away. It really is kind of that, like, not in between sort of energy that we're talking about here. It says balanced spirituality and practicality is kind of really what it is that we're talking about here, right? Because there is going to, you have Pluto and Capricorn in your 6th house of your day-to-day experience. It's your day-to-day work, but it's also your day-to-day experience. It's also your health. So it's very important for you to, and it's a very practical energy, right? So it's very important to kind of keep yourself balanced emotionally, mentally, physically with what's going on, and not get too wrapped up in something. Very, very interesting that we got the sexual arts here. Wow. Okay. So this is kind of a segue into what I wanted to address next, right? This balancing spirituality and practicality that's being clarified by sexual arts. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this full moon in Pisces on the 21st in your 8th house that's sextiling Pluto and Capricorn in your 6th house, and it's conjuncting Neptune. What does all of that mean? For some of you, this can show up as you meeting with a medical professional for a fertility issue or some kind of health issue that's impacting your sexual performance, right? Or that of your partner, okay? And it's like but the thing is, as you work through this cyclical situation, you're going to realize that a lot of it is connected to, the culprit of it is connected to something going on with you psychologically. So, very, very interesting. This could be like a psychological reason, fear, something very entrenched deep in your psyche, as far as maybe being able to get pregnant, or there could be some sort of, you might be taking something that maybe, I'm going to give you a very basic, mundane example of this, and you can apply it to your life as you see fit. Let's say you're a man and you're losing your hair, right? If you're a Leo rising, that may be your story. Leo rising men are often struggle with hair loss. Okay, so say that really messes with your personal psychology, right? Your sense of self-concept or whatever it is. So you take some sort of medication, but that ends up getting in the way of your ability to perform sexually. So maybe now you're saying, okay, well, I still want to work on my hair. So what am I going to do? And you meeting with a medical professional and then being able to help you out. But the core of the issue is the medication that you're taking because of some sort of it's deep psychological challenge that you're having that you're needing to work with. Okay, so that's a basic example as well. I hope that makes sense to you. Anyway, that's how it's going to be for some of you. For others of you, this can indicate an increase in finances through a partner or a partner's family, or through inheritance, or through some sort of insurance payout. And it can actually be an early receival of inheritance, or an earlier than you anticipated receiving of that insurance payout. On the other hand, for others, right, with Neptune here, you might be able to face and dissolve some deep psychological issue that you've been carrying around, which, looking at this energy, can end up having a profound impact on your health. Really, really beautiful. So, because wherever Neptune is, there's this idea of dissolve, right? We're able to dissolve things wherever Neptune is. So I feel like any sort of inhibitions when it comes to being open, vulnerable, allowing yourself to feel exposed, because that really is what the sexual arts card means. It's not only having to do with sex, and it is more about the true definition of intimacy, which is about us allowing ourselves to be open and vulnerable and exposed to being hurt in any situation. And we could keep our clothes on for all of that. You know what I mean? Like it's more of like a metaphor. You have to understand. So clarifying that energy, though, is come to the edge. Yeah. So if you're really scared about looking at that thing that's poking at you, that reason behind something that maybe is getting in the way of a relationship, that's getting in the way of your sense of self-concept, I feel like this part has less to do with career/money, other than to say, if something is really scaring you to get into because you're so afraid of failure, come to the edge and really allow yourself to be exposed and take that chance of maybe failing, but at least knowing that in that experience, you're going to learn a whole hell of a lot. You know what I mean? So that's beautiful, because it's through doing this, it's through this opening up and allowing the energy sort of within you, that's how you're going to be receiving some really beautiful messages, some really beautiful gifts. Because that's the thing, to have the full, because this is such a good moon for a couple of reasons. It's happening about an hour after Mercury trines Jupiter at less than 1 degree. So spiritually speaking, this means a really, really optimistic, generous, and far more fortuitous vibe being available to all of us, if we're open to it. This is excellent for business, for romance, for study, for research, for planning, for socializing, for traveling, everything. Now, that's a strong influence because of the 1 degree orb, but it's also because Mercury is conjunct. Mercury is going retrograde and all that. We'll talk about that in a second. But Mercury is conjunct the most fortunate of all the fixed stars, which is Spica, which is going to incite ingenious thinking. It helps us tap into our faith far more easily, better able to get along with people in positions of authority or people who we need to work something out with. This aspect also supports gains through investments, and it helps to incite positions of authority that'll help you move forward ahead in your life. And so what we're talking about here, and because it's where it's aspecting is going to be in Libra, right, for you, which is actually in that 3rd house. So what can that look like for you? Well, while that full moon, while that Mars in Libra can bring that tension, Mercury with Spica in there is really going to help you create a level of understanding. This is the kind of energy that creates very successful business propositions, business offers, starting some sort of new learning, anything like that. Really, your voice is very, very clearly heard if you're needing to communicate with family members. So beautiful, beautiful energy there. Now, the shadow manifestation of that, depending on what's going on in your chart, how that, how as you're going to know if the shadow manifestation is showing up, depends on what's retrograde in your natal chart. All of that stuff can be unfair treatment, but it's still positive because you're going to have the strength and the eyes to see right through somebody and call them on their stuff. Okay, so that is very, very positive. So generally speaking, this is all good stuff we're talking about. Really, you just want to be mindful that Mercury is going to be scoring Pluto. So Pluto's in your 6th house, right? That Mercury's in your 3rd house. So there can be some tension, between, communicating in the workplace, communicating with maybe a medical professional, communicating with somebody in your day-to-day, but not a big deal. Not a big deal. There's so much other stuff that's, so much other energy, rather, supporting this, that positioning. You just want to make sure that you allow your words to come out thoughtfully, because you don't want to throw things off course. Because the thing is this, with the energy that we're talking about here, what you throw off course because of harsh words can create permanent damage rather than inciting change, right? So you don't want to, unless you totally want to end something, this is a really good energy to be like, look, let me tell you how I really feel. Sit down and having that conversation, and then it is done and you don't even need to return to that, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about that. Now let's go on here. We have a new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. Well, a new romantic cycle begins, I do believe this, because Scorpio's in Venus for you in your 4th house, opposing the 10th house, right? So I feel like, you know, for you guys, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of release going on, though, I feel like, for you, just because of how it's Sassy square in the South Node in the 5th house. So I feel like, there's something that Leo, the archetype, needs to release in relationship. Even if you're still in relationship, maybe something that happened in the past within the relationship, something like that. But there's got to be this absolute release, you know. And speaking of that Venusian energy, that Venus and Scorpio in the 4th opposing Uranus in your 10th house can equal, first of all, for some of you, I do want to say, a career opportunity suddenly appearing out of nowhere. But here's the caveat. When we're talking Uranus, especially because I don't know you in your chart, you're just expect the unexpected. This is very much like an 8 of Swords energy. Expect the unexpected. Now, this is the thing. It could be really positive or it could be really challenging. It depends. So going back to that job offer, a career opportunity can suddenly appear or disappear. But since Uranus rules your 7th house, it seems like a very positive positioning to me. I'm just saying that, right? But don't come after me if you have a different manifestation of it. But it does seem like, because Uranus also rules that 7th for you just naturally in your chart, I feel like it's going to be really good for you, especially those of you who deal with the public, anything having to do with the public. But also there's a lot of working out, but surprising changes having to do with maybe your spouse or someone living in your house where you did not see something coming. There's something like, it's like, wow, because 10th house is also your long-term goals, and it's opposing the 4th house of home. So somebody might, you know, there might be this realization that maybe, you know, you or your spouse are just like, yeah, guess what? I don't think I can do this anymore. That is a way that it can certainly manifest. Or in the same way, if you guys are on the brink of divorce, suddenly you guys find each other again, and it's like magical, right? It's magical. Have faith either way. It's time to go. And it's time for you to make conscious connections, guys. Conscious connections. That means you're not energetically drawn to somebody because it's easier, because they're familiar, because you know what you're getting. Conscious connections are connections that we do a little bit of an initial evaluation, saying, all right, how is this person good for me? Do they make me feel better about myself when I'm around them? Or do they at least not make me feel bad about myself when I'm around them? And this can go for anyone in your life, having to do with people at work, anyone in your environment. But the thing is, because this Venusian energy is happening in your 4th house, and the 4th house has to do with, it's a lot, right? It's not only your home, it's also your emotional foundation. So it's, and because Venus is in there, Venus is very focused on things that are equitable. And if things aren't equitable, because it's in Scorpio and the house that it's in for you, Leo, in your chart, Pluto is your ruler of that 4th house, which is Scorpio's modern ruler anyway. So it's about transformation, ending and beginning. So really it's about right now, very heightened, is how good does this make you feel? How good does whatever situation, because you're really focusing on your emotional foundation and all that means in your life. And you're at this space where you're like, if somebody isn't good for me, I truly can't make space for them in my energy, because I know it's going to bring me down a rabbit hole. The calendar is moving forward, not backwards, and I'm sick and tired of wasting time. And I just want to be with an energy that I enjoy, that respects me, that I enjoy being a part of, right? And whether that has to do with work, family, intimate relationship, friendship, whatever it is. So that's what I see going on for the general lay of the land here, having to do with the astrology and the oracles. So let's use the Chakra Tarot to pull a Celtic cross spread for some additional general messages for our lovely, loving lions. Okay. Queen of Coins, you're Queen of Coins right now, but your challenge is the Five of Cups. So there's sadness here. It's like you're trying to take care of yourself and do the right thing, but there's some sort of sadness. Something ended before you felt ready for it. So that could be a job, that could be the passing away of somebody, that could be the ending of a relationship, really anything like that. Again, these are general messages. Coming into this energy, we do have the Six of Wands and being very focused on, Six of Wands. Being very focused on growth, right? This is a Jupiter and Leo energy, very nice energy. So this is about deserved success, great energy. If you were struggling up to some point, there was some sort of acknowledgement, some sort of validation for some of you. For others of you, maybe in the recent past, you shared feelings for someone within a relationship, and it was, at least from your perspective, positive communication. You understood everything to be well received in order to have a deepening of connection. I mean, in general, this is a good news energy for any aspect of life. Could have to do with love. It could have to do with property, education, work, anything that would require decision making. So some sort of nice realization coming into this for any part of your life. Where are you right now? Right now, you're the Queen of Coins. So right now, you're in the space where you're looking to be reliable, supportive, affectionate. It's a very generous energy, but you're very focused on taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, your mind, your spirit, your finances, kind of checking off the boxes right now is what I'm getting. As a general influence that you might be experiencing just as a person, you might be looking at your marriage, talking about getting married. This can indicate money coming to some of you who are coupled already. It's more of a coupled sort of thing. This does indicate very good financial management, or at least the attempt to get control of finances. And this also brings into focus the idea of fertility, right? And being able to create more and additionally to your life. So that doesn't only mean getting pregnant. The idea of fertility in tarot is being able to grow yourself from where you are right now. So maybe that means expanding a home, moving to a new place that's going to enhance your life, buying a business, leveling up your position at work, making new friends, a new relationship, anything like that. But what's getting in your way right now from being able to do that as effectively as you would like to is the Five of Cups, which is this Mars and Scorpio energy, this experience where you're feeling this loss, or you're feeling like you need to leave something and you're not happy about it because there's this element of sadness because something needs to end or has ended before you felt fully ready for it. So this could have to do with a friendship, a work situation, money situation, intimate situation. Remember, in this card, if you notice, we have 1, 2, 3 cups that are spelled. And those are the cups that she's very focused on. All she has to do is turn around and see these 2 cups still standing. So it's not quite as bad as you might think, but it's almost the kind of thing where whatever issue you're working through, Leo, on a personal level, it feels so big for you. And that's all that matters, right? For you, it feels really, really big. So even though you might have support and there might be some good things left to look at and things may not be as bad as they seem, but for now, it does seem like a challenge, right? Now, the basis of the situation is the Five of Swords. So what this tells me is there's a clash between something, how you want something to go or how you want to live or how you wish something could be and the reality of what it is. And it's that tension and that conflict that you're not going to be able to get in front of because the conflict is coming from either another person or an external situation. So you very badly want something, but either this person or the situation that you want it with cannot provide it to you now because of their own stuff. Maybe because of scheduling, maybe because of COVID, maybe because they have their own agenda, they have their own way of wanting to do things. there is a misunderstanding within the relationship, whatever it is. You're not going to be able to get in front of it because you can only mitigate your own stuff. So you're better off recognizing that you can't go in and change them. That's not something that's even remotely possible. So if you still want to deal with that person or that situation, at least for now, it's a minor arcana, it's not going to last, at least for now, understand that this is what you have to deal with now. Now, where you're at right now, though, with the Lover's energy, the Lover's is all about choice and balance, right? It's choice and balance. Now, in numerology, the Lover's energy is the devil. And what is the devil? Imbalance, shackling. So some of you may feel very shackled to the memory of a past intimate partner, very shackled to an incident that happened in the past within the current relationship that you're in, very shackled in the past to a job that you miss very much, or a way of life or a way of being very much, and it's creating this sort of imbalance in your life right now as you know it. So the Lover's energy really does say, okay, we need to balance something out. We have issues. There are issues here. Whether this is a work situation, a family situation, intimate marriage, doesn't matter. There are issues here, and we have to work together at it to balance things out. It's about balance. And if you do, you have the blessing of Archangel Raphael to really work at it with you. It's a very positive energy, particularly in the upright, because there does seem to be this open willingness. But it can't be done with conditions where I'm only willing to work it out if they're willing to say A, B, and C, or if they're willing to abide by my viewpoint, right? I mean, there has to be that understanding. Yeah, and the advice here is temperance. You have to temper the situation. So the temperance in numerology is the Hierophant, which really, while it is about marriage and important relationships, it's also about compromise and expectations, right? And so temperance is about that cooperation, moderation, reconciling issues. For some of you, it will be reconciling with somebody from the past, or just reconciling a particular situation that you guys are dealing with. But it's through that you're going to be able to get past a really difficult time period, which is good. I mean, you might be dealing with somebody who is a challenging personality. Maybe they're too aggressive or too sensitive, or a little bit of both, right? But a lot of patient cooperation is going to go a long way, a lot of empathy, because when we're talking about the temperance energy, it's not that this person is bad, it's just they're caught up in their feels also. So there needs to be some understanding where everybody has to be like, all right, time out, hold on, right? And it does seem like somebody is in the process right now of assessing a situation. That's what we do with the judgment energy. Now, first of all, for some of you having to do with career or money, this is a beautiful energy to get from it as an external source. Is this about somebody external from you, acknowledging your talents, gifts, and abilities, and you receiving acknowledgement from someone else for your success. So it's, finances improving because they're an external, right? If this has to do with a relationship, this could be somebody from your past. And it doesn't even have to be anybody from your past. Just because it's a Pluto energy, so there's always this energy of like sort of regeneration, right? So it could be somebody, but it is about letting go of the past, assessing the situation, letting go of the past, and making a decision about that, and spiritually waking up and shifting everything into a new phase. That's where somebody is that you're dealing with. Now, for some of you, they're in this space, this person you're dealing with, they're in a space where they're really looking to reconcile a situation. And what does that mean? That means they want to sit down and have a conversation about it. At least have the conversation. At least say we all did the best that we knew how in the moment with the tools that we had in our toolbox. That doesn't mean kumbaya, let's run off and live happily ever after, but it does mean a lot of air clearing at the very least, But your challenge here, Leo, is the Four of Coins. So some of you may be really concerned about your money right now. Just very concerned that you're not going to have financial security moving forward, so you're really, really watching all of your money, right, as everything that comes in, because you just want to make sure you have a firm foundation moving forward. That could be you. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who's really, really worried about money, and that's the thing, right? That's an issue for you. But this could also be you emotionally blocking yourself. I'm not saying say block yourself, but very much protecting your heart, very much protecting yourself. You know, the pentacles, look what the pentacles are covering. They're covering his chest, his heart. It's like, you know, because pentacles are also emotional, mental, and physical connection. So if that's a block, that could be you having a really hard time really allowing yourself to totally open up and be vulnerable in a situation. Going back to the oracle, when we were talking about the sexual arts and come to the edge, it's allowing yourself to be pushing yourself, making yourself be that level of vulnerable. Not easy for a Leo to do. Not easy. Not easy. And it's interesting because Leos can think they're doing that, but you're always sort of half guarding yourself. You'll come to the edge and you'll be vulnerable, but it'll be, and I know a lot of you aren't going to like that I'm saying this, but it's just simply the way the archetype is made, which is beautiful. But it is this idea of, you know, you want to protect your ego. You want to protect your internal sense of self. So you'll admit fault and you'll admit to A, B, and C to a certain extent. When it gets a little too uncomfortable, you pull away and you could easily shut down, right? So really the energy in this reading is saying, try to push yourself past that feeling where you want to run away or where you want to lash out at somebody, something like that. Now we have the King of Swords energy. So King of Swords energy is really focusing on the mind rather than your heart to take charge of your circumstances. Really trying to work through that with the air energy, that logic. And the final outcome is the Princess of Cups. So this is definitely some good news coming in that's going to impact an emotional aspect of your life, whether it has to do with love, money, family, something fun. Maybe a new potential partner is on the near horizon. A new job opportunity is on the near horizon, right? We did mention you have Uranus retrograde in that 11th house. So it could be that. But there's some sort of newness that's coming in. But you want to make sure that you don't get too wrapped up like in any sort of emotionally based ego energy at all, and try to stay a lot more mental and keep your eye on the end point of what you want out of a situation. And exercising some empathy, even if you feel like the person maybe doesn't even deserve it. You know what I mean? All right, my friends. So let's go on to relationship. So I'm going to pull a past, present, future, and final outcome for you with qualifiers, and then also for an energy that you're dealing with. And then after this, I'm going to do for those of you in separation. I'm not going to have time to fit in the singles as well, guys. So maybe you got some messages from that in the general reading. Okay. All right, so in the past, we have this 10 of Wands working with this Justice energy. All right, wanting to leave because something felt really unfair. You felt like your emotional needs weren't being met. It was stressing you out. It was making you feel overwhelmed, really burdened, really, really burdened. Okay, what was going on with this person you were dealing with? The 7 of Cups, they were confused. They had an issue committing to the situation, you know. They weren't being very honest about something. The 7 of Swords, right? I mean, this could indicate dishonesty, immoral running away, somebody overstepping boundaries, somebody being selfish, or even, because it's a moon in Aquarius, it could be that somebody wasn't being completely forthcoming with the truth of how they felt or the truth of what was going on in their life. And they had a really hard time committing. But this idea of things feeling up in the air for them, this commitment issue, feeling, oh, I'm not sure if I want to get married, I'm not sure if I want to move in together, I'm not sure if I want to have a baby, I'm not sure, right? But meanwhile, they felt the entire time that you guys are at the beginning stages of something new. But it was almost like, I feel like they're waiting for some sort of like divine intervention to tell them exactly what was going to be the story on the other side. So somebody who was very afraid of something, it does seem like. But meanwhile, you were like, listen, it's unfair, it's overwhelming me, and I'm over it. So right now, let's see where you're at. Oh, Ace of Pentacles and the Sun. Ace of Pentacles is very, very nice. I mean, this is very auspicious for every area of your life. Actually, this is about you being focused on happiness and contentment, being focused on manifesting what it is that you want. What I like about this, though, especially with the sun, is think about it realistically, Leo, and it is going to come to you. And I'm not, it sounds so like airy-fairy, right? But this is the thing with the sun. The sun doesn't say, boom, you landed in a pot of gold, you met the love of your life, all of that. No, what the sun does is the sun shows you how to achieve what it is that you want. So if that beautiful new beginning in that relationship is what you want, you have to be really raw honest with yourself about your role, because you can only be honest about your role, right? About your role in the whole situation. And where does empathy need to be exercised? You understand what I mean? The sun gives us the tools in our toolbox. It doesn't make it happen. It's the same thing. Think about anything that grows. Does the sun grow the plant? No. The sun gives the vitamins and the nutrients and the avenue that's necessary to grow something. But it still has to be planted. The soil still needs to be tended to, right? So there needs to be effort. And so there's got to be this effort in new. So if you don't want to keep experiencing what you've had, you have to look at your role in it and see where you might be able to change in order to bring yourself the outcome that you want, whether it's in this relationship or another relationship. Because since it's an ace, this could be a new beginning for some of you. For others of you, equally so, this could be a brand new relationship. Now, an energy that's still lingering with you and still hanging with you, we have this Queen of Swords and the Page of Cups. The Queen of Swords is somebody who is very motivated to find out the psychological motivation of you. And this is somebody who I feel like they're very strong in their constitution. And they're very sort of focused. And then to have this with the Page of Swords, this is about useful information coming in. They're very much relying on their intelligence. They're very much looking at the facts of the truth of a situation. There's a lot of air here. There's a lot of air. And you might be, kind of hearing this, Leo, where, again, this is subjective, right? You don't have to agree with them. But this could be where somebody that you're dealing with is saying, look, from my perspective, this is how everything has rolled out. Whether you agree or don't agree is besides the point, but they're all in their air, and they want to understand what is psychologically motivating you to be who you are in the relationship right now. What's the real story, right? What's the real story? Because there might be a lack of trust here in some way or another. So in the near future for you, we have the Four of Wands, and it's being clarified by the Magician. So really nice. The Four of Wands, Venus and Aries energy. This is great energy for homecoming, moving in together, very celebratory vibe that ends up inciting a very strong foundation, opening up your heart, expressing your love, all of that. Very nice energy. And how is all of that happening? But through the Magician. The Magician is straight up Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Virgo rules the sixth house of problems, the sixth house of health and work and all of that. But let's look at it like this. We look at Virgo and we say Virgo is the problem solver energy because it's the landlord of the house of problems. So they're very strategic at figuring things out. That's why they're a very critical energy. So Mercury rules Virgo as well as the communicative Gemini. So what does this end up inciting is very, very good communication. And issues or problems can be resolved through a deeper understanding of each other's needs here. So I feel like you are all about that. You are all about that. And where are they at? Very interesting. Two of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. So it does seem like they're in this space of needing to negotiate something here, Leo. So they might be confused between you and somebody from their past, between a yes-no situation, whether they want to get married or not, whether they want to be with you or not, whether they want to have that baby or not, whether they want to do this or that, right? Negotiation between two things can really apply to anything in life, so you would probably know best, right? Because it's a general message, but it's regarding more than one path. And it's because there's this sense of lack in feeling connected to something. So the person that you're dealing with, they need to make the decision. What are they going to put down to alleviate their confusion? And what are they going to end up committing themselves to so that they could be happy? And the Ten of Cups is about family, contentment, the benefit of security within a nice relationship. It's a great energy for it's for partnerships, communication, romance, all that stuff, family, all of that. Really nice. So it's like they want it, but they're very they're so scared. We have like confusion, trying to stay in their mental realm, knowing that they need to make a decision. They're so afraid. You're dealing with somebody who's very afraid. Now let's see what the final outcomes bring. Queen of Pentacles. Wow. Leo, look at this. Eight of Cups, clarifying. So here, again, taking care of you, doing you, taking care of, this is a Sagittarius and Capricorn energy. So Capricorn has to do with responsibility. Sagittarius is about moving forward with integrity. And you're all about that. So if you feel like you're with somebody who's not able to be on that same page with you, I see there is this energy of departure and change, and having the emotional intelligence to recognize that it just doesn't feel right to you anymore, and it's time to move on. But I feel like for a lot of you, this is not new. I feel like this is sort of a long time coming, because it's the sadness with no regret kind of energy, and you've likely left a situation emotionally already, because it's time to truly work on you. Work on you and being able to really manifest what it is that you want. I feel like that's where you're at, because it's like the indecision and the trepidation and the I don't know and let's see and kick the bucket down the road and all the things that could come with the excuses are just, you don't want to deal with it anymore. But then look what happens when you do that. Then we have the Star, clarified by the Seven of Wands. So the Star kind of goes something like this. But Leo, we just need to find balance. We're meant to be together. We're soulmates. Let's get past all of the difficult time that we've been having. Let's sit down and open up, right? Because in numerology, this is you. This is the strength energy, which is Leo, right? And it's a need to balance out a situation. So they're going to be all about it. They're going to want to balance out a situation. But this is the thing. As they balance it out, they're going to be viewing this whole thing as an obstacle. And they're going to be while they're communicating with you, why they feel defensive, their morality and their personal philosophy is going to be really, really important to them. It's going to be very important to them to stand up for themselves. And the thing is, it may be coming from a really good, pure place. But you're not going to really want to hear it. For some reason, either it's going to make you feel viscerally uncomfortable. You're not going to want to deal with it. You're just going to be like, this is too much work. I don't want to I just don't feel, it doesn't look like you're going to be really very receptive. But it almost seems like they're confused. You're like, okay, bye. And the second you say bye, they're like, wait, but we're supposed to be together. But you want to be careful that doesn't end up in some sort of cyclical situation where it's like right when they know they have you back in the pocket, then they start to act in that messy energy again. So definitely wanting to, okay. Okay. So I just feel like there's going to be this conversation between the two of you where you're realizing that the way it's been up to this point can't continue. Now, whether you continue with it beyond that, the death and rebirth energy, if the bones of it are good and the two of you decide that you want to give it another go, then absolutely. But this can also mean just leaving everything in the past and going on to something else, because Leo, it does seem like either you or the person that you're dealing with are identifying something in this relationship that's missing. There's a sense of lack in this. And while it might be something that could be counted on, there's this lack of something. Either it's something in common, maybe you're very different people, maybe you have different views on money, on living situations, on whatever it is. It's just, and it's this thing where you're like, I don't know if we have the bones of what's necessary to go the really long haul. Is this a for now or forever kind of thing? You know what I mean? And the thing is, I feel like both of you want it to be a forever thing, but you can't resolve these differences right now. And it's inciting this Five of Swords energy for both of you, where you guys are not living this life together that you want in reality. You can't change them, they can't change you. And there is this deep challenge in having to do with temperance and being able to really hear each other very effectively right now. It's almost like there's a lot of emotions, but the two of you are on different pages. Now, it depends on what your story is and what's aspecting your chart, because I do feel like very strongly that some of you are staying in something or wanting something to be saved, maybe even if it's not in a good space right now, because of past memories, because of ease. And I'm right. I mean, that's real, right? Because in today's day and age, if you have to start over, you never know. It's a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get, right? So you might want to stay just because it's familiar and it's easier, even if you're not really happy. And it's that kind of thing. It's like, damn it, why can't they just do A, B, and C? Because that's not who they are. Because they're probably saying the same thing about you. And that's the tricky part. So that's just for this time period, guys. And don't do anything rash, not when Mercury's retrograde, because it's only going to swing back around. You're going to need to deal with it. So this is a really good time to reflect, you know, really reflect on everything in a very honest way that's been going on and see if the situation can be mitigated. Because the energy is here. It is here. And the fact that you have this, the fact that you have the full moon and the 8th and 2nd house axis, I mean, that's a big deal, guys. That's that me versus we energy. A lot of you are going to be in this space where you're realizing like, wow, maybe I haven't been really showing up as a we enough in this relationship. I've been focused a little bit too much on me, or vice versa. And there being that equitable energy that needs to be established. So this first row, having to do with those of you not in communication right now, is going to be for you. And this bottom row is going to be for them. And we're going to connect these energies with an Island Time Wellness card. And we'll pull tarot if we need. So that now remember, I say this all the time, relationship energies can always be enmeshed. What I'm reading as your energy could be theirs, vice versa. Common sense, right, guys? It's energy. It doesn't understand the calendar. It doesn't understand time. Okay. Everywhere I go, I look around as if you'll magically be there. So what this tells me, Leo, if you're resonating with this, is this person is sort of right in the front of your head. You know, you think about them within the first couple of moments of you waking up, and they're kind of with you throughout the day, and you do think about them before you go to sleep. It's that kind of in the front of your mind. For them, it hurts to see you online that you've moved on with your life. So this could even be, though, the kind of situation where they're hearing about you through other people, right? It's just this idea of hearing about you, right? And knowing that, okay, you've moved on, right? Now, what's the energy connecting the two of you? Not today. Not dealing, hurt, avoiding a conversation, called person, boundaries, still angry. So you guys are not in communication, and nobody's budging right now. Nobody's budging. But there still feels going on here for them. For you, I miss looking into your eyes and into your soul. And for them, I have to be in contact with you again. I miss you too much. And then connecting the energy, new phase, rekindle, renew, transform, growth, changed mind. Leo, somebody misses you. Okay, next up for you, I settled for second best because I don't deserve you. So maybe you decided to, get involved with somebody else, Leo, because that relationship that you were in with this person, it wasn't working out, and you started to feel not good about yourself, and it was just easier to be with somebody else who maybe wasn't fully in your league, so they say, whatever the hell that means, but I think we all know kind of what that means, but that's very subjective. Or somebody who just maybe didn't, purposely going after somebody who didn't move you in the same way because you viewed them as being a lot safer. And then for them, I didn't realize I loved you until it was too late. I'm so sorry. And then we have I like you, connecting the two of you. And it's interesting because before I even looked at that, I sort of got this energy where I feel like you guys were really good friends more than anything. And that's something that's so important to you, right? Is to be good friends with your partner. It's just like, I like you. Like, and this is just like, let's flirt, let's date, let's kind of like find each other again in that way. I cheated you out of real love. I ghosted you because of my own insecurities. And that's coming from you, Leo. So, ghosting can wear many hats, right? It cheated you out of real love. So were there points within your relationship where maybe you didn't show up as your full authentic self, or maybe you weren't fully transparent, or you weren't fully disclosing, right, information that as you went along, right? And you're only maybe now realizing it. Maybe you were doing it in the moment, not out of malice, but maybe out of insecurity and vulnerability or whatever. But that is the case there. And then for them, I feel like I abandoned you and myself when we broke up. I want to reconcile. So you're dealing with somebody who wants to reconcile, but the energy that's between the two of you here is this idea of addiction, which is codependent energy, obsession, possession, controlling. Somebody who has a block, somebody who has restraint. This could be some sort of dysfunction in the relationship, sort of outside of the relationship itself, right? So it could be substance abuse, right? Any sort of sexual issue that I mentioned at the beginning of the reading. Anything like that, right? Where it creates imbalance. I mean, that's the important thing, right? Addiction is really in tarot, really in the devil energy, it really is about this shackling of imbalance. So it could be narcissistic behavior that doesn't involve any substances. It doesn't have to be addiction to substances. It could be to money. It could be to sex. It could be to gambling, right? It could be to shopping. Any sort of eating disorder, anything like that, where there's a shackling and it ends up getting in the way of both parties being open and available to the energy to be whole within the relationship. So it does seem like that was a fundamental issue that was playing out here that does need to be addressed. The feelings are here, but the issues surrounding your energy need to be addressed if you guys are going to reconnect, and that's not always easy. That means leaving your ego at the bucket at the beginning before you walk in the room, both of you, though not only you. All right, my friend, that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful for you in some way. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have a great rest of the month, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.